Yvonne, I'm so glad I found you.
Hi Sophie.
I thought I was coming to a stream, but I've come underground and it's a low roof, there's some water, I'm hearing drips. Tell us where we are.
We're about a metre under the street and it's under a laneway called Hamilton Lane, not too far away from Pitt Street and Hunter Street.
So are there cars above our heads?
There is, and just a metre above our heads, and every now and then when a car goes over a maintenance hole you'll hear a thud. And we may hear that while you're down here.
Okay. What was here in this place before the first fleet arrived in 1788?
They pulled up to this spot because they were attracted by the deep anchorage in the bay. But when they looked south back then and they looked up the hill, they found a heavily wooded forest. It dropped from the Perch Swamp, which is now Hyde Park, down a series of waterfalls, and the height difference between Hyde Park and Sydney Cove is 30 metres. So a series of waterfalls flowing through a heavily wooded forest, still, pristine, and a fresh source of water.
What happened to that beautiful environment, the wooded landscape, the waterfalls?
Well, as part of establishing the colony, and back then, and it's not something that's likely to happen these days, so it's a bit harsh and possibly hard to understand, but they did clear the forest very quickly, and there were some comments in early journals where they were talking about their lament about, or the sadness around having to cut those trees. But they did, they cut them down, they established areas for tents for the convicts. The convicts tended to be on my right, on the western side of the stream, and the officers and the governor, or at the time he was captain, they were on the eastern side. So it was a social divide as well. And they milled about the water supply, possibly not with a lot of respect, so that's a really unfortunate consequence. And what happened within less than 40 years, the water became so polluted they weren't able to drink it.
So what was it they did to it that caused it to become polluted?
They washed, they bathed, they washed their laundry. They had increasingly, as every boat arrived, they had animals that came to this stream to drink. And pretty quickly, Governor Phillip created the first green bands to try and exclude a section of 50 metres either side, 50 feet, sorry, either side of the stream, an exclusion zone. But once he left the colony in 1792, there wasn't as much control or respect for those rules, and it just got fouled up.
And do we still get pollution in the stream today?
There's less pollution. It's certainly not sewage anymore. It is literally just stormwater. And what we can find, there's a little bit of debris down here that you can see, rubbish, polystyrene. It's whatever you may see at the street level that has found its way through the stormwater grates. And the interesting thing is, whilst I would say the only thing in here at the moment would be crickets that we've seen a few of, the only thing you see these days are this species of fish. And they'll wash through as well.
It's a very different kind of fish than what was here in the past, I'm sure.
It is indeed, but that's a really important lesson to think about, not dropping things at street level, and these things find their way down the stormwater grates and into this waterway system.
Absolutely. Now, what makes this space, the tank stream, so special or significant today?
These days, it's one of the oldest reminders from that first fleet period. The only other one is the archaeological remains of First Government House, not too far away, just up the road here. So we have got fabric that was altered by the convicts from that 1790 period, and there's no other examples of that apart from First Government House.
Now, I could see lots of interesting things on the walls and on the floor. Could we go have a bit of an explore?
Absolutely, absolutely. What you can see already is maker's marks there. There's a triangle. We've got a W here and an M here. The interesting thing, it could be the same letter and one of the letters are upside down. And we think they're maker's marks where you get paid for every 10 or 100 stones that you cut. You leave a mark and that's your proof of it's a timesheet, if you like, an ancient timesheet. The other funny idea, and further along there's a very elaborate R which happens to be in the roof. So could it be an IKEA flat pack system where you've got the R, which is the roof block, and the W for the walls on the side of the tunnel? And we don't know, and that's the beautiful thing about it. There's still so much to learn about this space.
Yvonne, thank you so much for your time here. This has been amazing. What a special experience for us to get to have a look inside the tank stream.
Thank you so much for coming down with me.